Hey, it's erynduhnay and welcome back to my corner of the internet. Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be exposing the grad school to mental health issue pipeline. For the title, I put in depression because I feel like, that resonates with people. Depression resonates with people. I didn't want to get too specific with the title there. I feel like depression resonates. I feel like, anxiety, I could have put that in the title. So I did go a little bit more clickbaity with the title of this video, but it is true. It is true to my experience, and I know it's true to the experience of others who are in grad school, were in grad school, that kind of thing. And so I wanted to expose this so that you know what you're getting into. I'm sure this does not apply to everyone. I don't think it applies to everyone. Sorry. I don't think it applies to everyone that's ever gone through grad school, ever been in grad school. But I feel like it's common enough that there is a little bit of a pattern here. And we're going to do some, social media exploring today to really get to the bottom of this issue, of this occurrence, of this behavior, of this pattern, whatever you want to call it. We're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to try to get to the bottom of it today. So thank you for clicking on this video, for watching. I hope you watch all the way until the end of the video to see, I did a little bit of research. Let's see what I found about this pipeline. Now, going into the video, I do feel like it's something about grad school that just drains you, just drains your energy, drains your, I don't know, your fervor for life, your passion, your spice for life, whatever you want to call it. That gets depleted. Okay, something about going through the process of grad school and then finally getting to the end, which would be my case, finally getting to the end, and I'm kind of like just tired almost all the time. And what do we call that, kids? We call it depression. Exactly. So let's get into this. I actually made a TikTok specifically about this journey, about my mental health journey through grad school and like what I was thinking, what I was feeling and stuff like that. And I talk a lot about how common it is for you to not be alone in these feelings in grad school, right? If you're feeling depressed, it's more than likely someone else in your cohort, someone that's your peer, that's your classmate, is probably also going through depression as well, anxiety as well, insert the blank as well. You are not the only one, and I cannot stress that enough. About the chicken or the egg conversation around this topic, right? So some people say, oh, was it the grad school that caused the depression, or did you have depression already and grad school exacerbated the symptoms, or grad school made it worse, or grad school made it jump out? Which came first? And I think that's a very tough question to ask, because you just don't know. You don't know what you don't know. For some people, it might be the case that they didn't even consider having depression until grad school happened, made it worse, and then they're like, oh shoot, maybe I need to like recalibrate my coping skills, or recalibrate my self-care activities, recalibrate how much rest I'm getting. It's kind of like how you live your life one way and then you get like a diagnosis for something, and then you have to look back over your life and like think about all those other symptoms you may have had over the years that just weren't clicking or didn't make sense or came out from out of nowhere. And then with a diagnosis, it all makes sense, right? It all is like, oh, that's what that was, or that's what was causing that. It's kind of the same thing. It's like you don't know what the exact origins of things are. All you know is this thing happened, then this thing happened. So I don't want to say cause, which is why in the title I'm like, maybe it's a pipeline. But I'm not here to say that grad school causes depression. I think it definitely puts you at a higher risk just because it's more stress. You have to spend less time doing other things. You have to make certain trade-offs in order to succeed in grad school. And that could be to your detriment. You know, grad school is only a season, only a period of time in your life, but that period of time can look different, right? Maybe you really needed to not make those trade-offs. And so everyone has to kind of go through that decision-making process when they're thinking about grad school or thinking about going into grad school. So I am not here to say that grad school definitively causes depression, but I am here to say that there is definitely 100% a correlation. Okay, let's all go back to Stats 101 class. Correlation does not equal causation. So I just want to put that out there and make that very clear at the beginning of this video. And you know, this is like an exploratory research project, mini research project for me. So let's get into what I actually found. So first I wanted to go into the research and see, is there research about this? I didn't do a super deep dive. You know, I didn't open PubMed. You know, I didn't open a super, you know, deep scientific database to look at the research at this, but I did do a thorough Google search. So let's see, you know, if there were any articles that Google was giving me that was like exposing this pipeline. So the first article I found was actually from my alma mater, from undergrad, Cal State Long Beach. They had a whole article talking about how to manage stress and time while you're in grad school. And I thought it was such a well-written article. It was so cute. It was so encouraging. I loved it. At the end, they plugged in like their counseling therapy services they have on campus. They plugged in like other resources that students can use if they're in grad school and if they're struggling. And, you know, I feel like the article sets it all up very well. It defines things very well. You know, it gives you the boom, boom, boom bullet points. And it was very well thought out. I do want to read one quote from the article that really stood out to me about this correlation between grad school and depression or anxiety. So let me read that to you really quick. So it says, one possible reason for these findings is that the same personality characteristics that attract people to intense intellectual pursuits, characteristics like having intense focus, holding high standards, and developing obsessive interests may also make people more susceptible to depression. Another possibility is that the demands of grad school, including the need to perform at a high level, the constant evaluation of one's work, and the pressure to continually improve, may contribute to depression. So with that quote, it lays it out very, very well, speaks it very clearly, touches back on the concept of like, they're correlated, but we don't know how. We don't know what's first, the grad school and then the depression, or was it the depression and then the grad school? And also brings in kind of a third element into that, is that maybe people who are more likely to be depressed, period, because of other personality things, are the ones who are more likely to go into grad school. So they're saying the grad school population of people are just more likely to be depressed because of, you know, like a tertiary factor. This article mentions like personality things like, you know, having really good focus, having high standards, things like perfectionism, things like, you know, wanting validation from academic environments or settings. Like that could be another characteristic. So that was a really great point. I appreciate that article because I didn't really consider that maybe the grad school population itself is just a skewed population towards at a higher risk of having depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues. But another article that I found quotes like a survey study about this. Now, I do want to say here that I found a few other sources that linked depression, mental health issues with grad school, but not like getting your master's. They linked it with like getting your PhD, getting your doctorate. And there were some that like specifically looked at, you know, STEM, STEM, the acronym STEM, looked at STEM PhD programs, and then the correlation between those people and depression and or anxiety, which I completely understand, because getting your doctorate is like a whole nother level of stress. You're in school for like several years. You're writing a huge project, which is like your dissertation, your thesis. And then you may be dealing with politics. You may be dealing with an advisor that you thought was one way, and then you actually start the program and they're another way. So that's like a whole nother level of like dynamics in the education and like in academia that a student would have to learn how to navigate and deal with. And on top of that, you know, PhD students do not get paid well. They don't get paid barely enough for the amount of work that they're actually putting in and contributing to the university. So that's kind of like a sidebar conversation. I wanted to try to find articles and resources that would relate to master's students. So that's why I only have like 2 or 3 studies in here. So let's move on to the second one. This one I found from a website called insidehighered.com, and I'll read you a quote that I found was interesting from that article. Again, if you want to read these articles or sources for yourself, I will have my blog linked down below in the description box. You can go there, click on the link, and that will give you like a full article of what I basically am talking about right now in this video. And at the bottom of that article, it will have all of the sources referenced there below. So if you want to read more, if you want to find out where I found these things, if you want to do a little bit of research on your own time, you are more than welcome to do that as well. So let me read this other quote from the other article. It says, the survey's 2,279 respondents were mostly PhD candidates, 90%, representing 26 countries and 234 institutions. Some 56% study humanities or social sciences, while 38% study the biological and physical sciences. 2% are engineering students and 4% are enrolled in other fields. Consistent with other research on non-student populations, transgender and gender non-conforming graduate students, along with women, were significantly more likely to experience anxiety and depression than their cisgender male counterparts. And then the article also says that mental well-being is associated with good work-life balance and a strong and supportive mentorship from like professors or someone else within your program. So with all of that being said, one thing I didn't consider about this whole pipeline is how marginalized populations might be affected at higher rates than their white, you know, cisgender or male counterparts. And that is another really good point. I mean, we see the dynamics, the isms of society play out literally in every single scenario. Any way you cut it, they're gonna play out. So yes, even in grad school, you know, if you are a person of color, if you are gender non-conforming, if you're part of the LGBTQ plus community, if you are, what are the other ones? If you're transgender, right? If you are not male, all of those things put you at a higher risk for higher rates or more severe depression or anxiety. And that makes complete sense, because not only are we having to deal with the other stresses that come with grad school, but we also have to deal with life outside of grad school. And that can bring so many different things into our lives. And grad school, sometimes your success does depend on the success of your support system and how much they're able to step up for you and be there for you and give you, you know, enough peace and quiet, give you enough relief, give you enough encouragement, maybe you need like monetary financial support to be in grad school, which I think everyone does, because grad school can be very expensive. But I mean, there are loans and things, but people don't really want to have to take out loans if they don't need to or have to or want to. So there's so many things that go into being successful in grad school, and it makes complete sense that even in this smaller microcosm of society, people, students in grad school, you know, the isms of society are still playing out, and they're still having a significant effect on your mental well-being throughout the grad school journey. All right, so now here's, I guess, the more fun portion of the video, where I'm going to look at like anecdotal evidence, which really, by that I mean TikToks, because I feel like TikTok is your honest, true, and vulnerable self. Well, okay, most creators on TikTok is just like, I'm just speaking my mind, like thoughts are just tumbling out of me. That's how I approach my TikTok. And I feel like a lot of people like just kind of rant on there, so they're being like super honest. You know, you can find honest reviews on TikTok, genuine people on TikTok. So I turned to TikTok for some like anecdotal evidence from people who are in grad school and we're talking about having depression or having like mental health issues. So let's react and kind of watch some of these videos together. Like, ooh, I'm excited. All right, so let's watch the first of the 4 TikToks I found talking about this topic. All right, let's watch the first one.
Thank you. Another one, thank you. Another one, thank you. Another one, thank you. Another one, thank you.
So for this one, it's obvious like it was some kind of collaboration, right? Because I had different people like in the photos and stuff. But this resonated with me, and I think this person started like a little bit of a trend because they have a good amount of views on this one. But let's go to the second video, which is kind of similar to this.
Another one, thank you. Another one, thank you. Another one, thank you. Another one, thank you. Another one, thank you.
Yeah, all of those things resonate with me right now. And like every step of the way in grad school, like literally I feel like I don't know, grad school doesn't make you feel more secure. And I think that's a myth that like I may have to make another video about, but I feel like I don't feel more secure about my professional future after having gone through grad school. And I go to USC, it's a very well-known institution, it's Ivy League, it's a PWI, it's all these things, has a great network and everything, but I don't feel secure. I don't feel that security yet. Maybe it's coming, I don't know. But I don't feel that right now. What I do feel is like a sense of, oh, you know, things are gonna work out, like eventually everything's gonna be okay. I do feel a sense of like I've grown like professionally, I've grown as a student, I've grown in my knowledge like of the healthcare industry. I know so much more than I used to know. I understand things in a way that I did not before. And concepts are like, I feel like I'm not fully quite there yet, but I do feel like concepts fit together better in my mind. So, you know, having discussions about the industry and having discussions about trends, I feel like I can actually do that with someone else that actually works in the industry. So I feel like it prepared me in that sense. But grad school, I mean, unless you have a program where it's like they are literally setting you up with the job, it may or may not give you that security that you were looking for. Just FYI, from my personal experience, that's how I would say. Now, let's watch the third one. Let's see. Let me refresh.
For those students watching, I need to talk about this because I can't get over it. So I'm in grad school, and this semester I have been feeling so unmotivated because of chronic plus seasonal depression and because my priorities are elsewhere. However, I just got my grades back for this semester and I'm shocked. I was so confident that given the fact that I was only putting in like 50% of effort into my usual form, confident that I would fail my classes or get C's. But I didn't. I'm on the honor roll for this semester. Like I literally spent a good hour recalculating my grades because I refused to believe that I was doing well while I felt I was being mediocre. And that's when I realized something. As a person of color, a female and black woman specifically, we are conditioned to work X times harder, and furthermore, imposter syndrome affects us more.
Yeah, this is so true. Like, I think last semester I got, like, fall semester of last year, I got all A's, and I was shocked because I thought I was like barely making it. I was not putting in as much effort as I would have liked, and I was just like just trying to just do the work, just get the work done. At some point it's gonna get done. It's very possible to feel like you're not putting in a lot of effort, but you actually are. And maybe it's just the fact that grad school is harder, but that doesn't mean that you won't perform as well as you're used to performing. Okay, so let's go on to the last fourth video.
Funny, yes, but not funny, haha. Funny, weird.
I feel like this is exactly what's going to happen, especially for me personally. And I think it's going to happen to a lot of my peers as well, because grad school can be the source of so much stress, so much overthinking, so much imposter syndrome. And even though it can be very like intimidating or like overwhelming to have to actually enter the job market and enter the workforce, leaving grad school is also like a huge relief in and of itself. So it's a very interesting dynamic. But yeah. Okay, so those were all the TikToks I found to review. If you see any other ones, please let me know. I would love to watch them and give my 2 cents. Link them down below, whatever you want to do. And again, I want to say correlation does not equal causation. Just because grad school is correlated with depression or mental health issues or anxiety does not mean that it happens for everyone, that it happens in that way for everyone, or that one causes the other. Again, we don't know. It's something that links them together, but from my research in this video, we're still not sure what exactly it is. Well, that is all that I have for this video today. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. Again, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and comment down below if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns. Also, don't forget to follow me on my other platforms like my Instagram and my TikTok, which actually has the same handle. It's at erynduhnay, which is spelled ERYNDUHNAY. And also share this video with someone that may need to just feel like they're not alone in the struggle, because it is real, but it's going to be okay. Thank you guys for visiting me and my corner of the internet, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.